Hi everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to another art conversation with Farrin. I hope you all are doing well and staying safe and healthy in this beautiful spring day. Our talented artist of this show is Antar. She creates the most amazing artwork you can imagine. And what I'm saying by amazing, you can believe it yourself and you will see it soon. So her artwork, in my idea, I call them insane, but insane, I mean in a good way, I should say. So welcome to our show, Robin.
Okay, my name is Robin Antar, and I've been sculpting since 1974.
All right, great. Robin, before we start our talk and you talk about yourself and your artwork, I want to play a video that I found it in your website, and I think that's amazing for everyone to know how you are, who you are, and what type of artwork you do to see this video. Is that okay?
Fine, sure.
A Brooklyn sculptor has carved out a very unusual niche for herself.
Dana Arshan shows us how she turns everyday objects into works of art. Tucked away on a quiet street in Midwood, Brooklyn, you'll find Robin Antar making a lot of noise. Robin is a sculptor who spends her time at home chipping away at marble, calcite, onyx, you name it. She calls her art realism in stone because she makes everyday items and food look so real, I had to stop myself from taking a bite.
America is comfort food. America is a bag of M&Ms, Milanos, Oreos.
This funky artist uses different stones to match the texture of each unique project. She creates everything from hot dogs to jean jackets to boxing gloves to this bag of potato chips weighing in at about 3,500 pounds.
You're focused, you're concentrated, and when you come upstairs after a day of sculpting, it's like it gives you, like you can handle anything that comes your way.
Robin says pop culture inspires each of her projects, and she hopes to leave behind a trace of today's America for future generations.
Realism in stone to me is taking pop American culture, what is America today, and documenting it in stone. And 2,000 years from now, who knows if there's going to be a jean jacket, a bottle of scotch.
For the everyday consumer, you can get some of Robin's work for as low as about $120 like this salt holder here. But if you liked that huge bag of potato chips, well, that goes for about $300,000. So to learn more about her artwork, you can get all that information on our website at fox5ny.com. In Midwood, Brooklyn, Dana Arshan, Fox 5 News.
Yeah, that was
Brooklyn sculptor has carved out a
very amazing video. I found it and I thought it would be good to share. So is this a type of work you're doing right now? Is this something you used to do from beginning? Or I should say, has your work changed over the time?
Well, when I first started out in 1974, 73, that was my first piece. And I used to do expressions in stone. I used to take the stone and just, no model, no nothing, and just go after it and express how I felt. As the years went on, I continued to do that kind of sculpting. Okay, then in about 1993, or 1998, I started doing realism in stone. Okay. Somebody asked me to make a boot, and one of my kids said to me, "Ma, why don't you make a boot?" And that was it. I went from there. And then I started, and then 9/11 happened, and I said, what is America? America is comfort food. So I went from the abstracts to the realism, but I work on them simultaneously.
Okay. So still you do abstract and realism all together, right?
Yeah, but I don't like to call it abstract. I call it more expressions in stone.
Okay. All right, so let's see some of your work, and if you please walk us through some of your artwork would be good for today.
This piece is called Undoing the Knot. And basically it's meaning to de-stress, to get rid of all the tensions in life. Every one of these abstract pieces were done at a crucial time in my life. For example, this one is called D knot number 1. It's carved out of a 400-pound piece of watermelon marble. It's about 40 inches wide, 17 inches high, 17 inches deep. And this was done when my son was alive and basically driving me crazy. And I had a lot of stress in raising children, and this was me depicting that stress.
Can you explain how this depicts your stress? I mean, it's a little bit like
it's a knot, so you have to figure in a knot.
Yes, yes. All right, very, very interesting. So how long it takes for you to create a piece like this?
Well, rough cutting it is fast. When I say fast, I mean like 2-3 weeks working 9 to 5. But what takes a long time is going back, cleaning up all your lines and polishing it.
Mm-hmm.
This stone was polished up to a 12,000 grit.
Oh.
And it's hard. It's a hard stone, so you got to use the central water feed.
And you have to be very strong, of course.
You have to be in the mood. You cannot go down and pick up a diamond blade unless you're 150% focused.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, every type of art, it's hardworking, and you need to really love it to do it, and you have to be in the mood in order to create what you really want to create, and has to come from your heart. It has to come from your 100% attention of you. So that make a good artwork.
Well, people ask me all the time, what artist are you in? What artist influenced your work? And I say, my own brain. I come up with these ideas. Like this one I did at the same time. This is called D knot number 3. And it's all cut out of one piece of marble. And it's basically a figure twisted up.
Yeah.
Because that's how I felt. My stomach was in a knot. I was down in the Colorado mountains. There was a situation I couldn't do anything about, even if I was back home in New York. So I decided to express it in stone.
That's really good way to actually release your stress.
That's why I'm still sitting here today.
Yeah, makes yourself comfortable. That's the best way, right? As artists. How you, beside expressing yourself and your feeling, how often is there any other subject you use beside yourself and beside your own feeling?
Well, when I go into the realism in stone, it's more of what I observe around me, of what is America. When I do my expression in stone, it's more of my personal feelings. Like this one I did, just saying life was a knot.
Okay. So you only make sculpture in stone, right? Stone is the only material you use.
Yes. Once in a while I did a bronze reproduction, but not too often.
Why you choose a stone?
I'm hooked. It's a lot of work. I mean, I don't know why I choose stone. I mean, I don't like clay. I take clay. I had to do a clay model once. I threw it across the room and grabbed the block of stone. I don't like clay. It's too mushy.
Too easy.
I don't.
You like the hard way.
And then I always make these undercuts. I did something the other day. I made an undercut, and I said, "Why did I make that undercut? You can't even get in there with a 7-inch diamond blade. I got to go in there with an inline and chisel it out." I mean, I just create these situations when I cut a form because I want to go for it and cut the form, and I don't care about how long it takes.
I'm sure it takes couple of months for you to finish up some piece like
Oh
this.
Yeah.
And then where you find the stone is something, I'm sure these are not a stone locally. You have to order the stone and
Well, every summer I've been going to Marble in Colorado mountains, and I have a supplier there, and he brings in stone from all over the world. So I have his connection. Anytime I want a stone, I just call him up and say, I want A, B, C, D, and he sends it to me.
Okay. So and then you choose the best type
Right.
of.
He'll give me a sample. He'll send me pictures of the size. I trust him to make sure there's no cracks in the stone, because I know the guy for like 20 years, and that's what I do.
Yeah, that's really important to have the right and the best material to create a masterpiece like this.
Well, I never chinch on materials. I never say I'm not doing this, it's too expensive. If I can't afford it, I just don't do it. I do the highest stone I can get because I'm fussy, because it takes a long time, and I'm not going to do a stone that I don't like.
Exactly. And what is this piece about?
This piece is called Pondering. And you ponder. You have all these knots in life, and then you have to think, what's next?
What's next? And why it's unfinished, the side of this piece?
Because I like the contrast between the finished and I left that row on purpose.
And what's the purpose, if I may know? I mean, of course, when you are wondering what's next, because it's something still.
Well, it's an incompleteness. It's a conflict. There can be many interpretations why I left the stone rough. It's all in the eyes of the viewer.
Exactly. Everyone can exactly interpret the way they want.
I mean, the expression pieces. Every expression piece has a distinct moment in my life why I did it, but it's void enough, it's open enough that everybody can take in their own interpretation.
Exactly. So I know you said you influence from your mind, but is there any other artist which is you can compare your work to them?
Not really. I mean, there's certain artists I admire their work, but their work is totally different.
Yeah, everyone different, right? But so if I say, like, because I know many people asking you this question, if the who are your biggest influence? So I should say, as you said, that's you yourself. It's your influence, right? And how you feel.
Right.
Right.
Balance. Now, after you have knots, then you have pondering. Now you have balance. You're going to balance all the stuff around you.
So this is starting from being like, have some difficulties, depressed, or like,
I wouldn't say it was depression. I would just say it's things you have to handle.
Okay.
Okay.
Until you handle it and make balance in your life.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And when I did balance, I decided that I was not going to do any more knots in my life. Oh. Because in order to do a knot, you have to feel it. Except for when I did this piece, I broke my rule. This piece is called David's Knot in Flames. This piece is in memory of my son, and the same son that I did the other 3 knots for, which you only showed 2, but he had a extremely hard childhood. One day I'm writing his book. I started writing about 65 pages of his book. His story has to be told. Basically, he was a victim of child molestation. He's been in therapy from age 2 years and 10 months. I knew exactly what happened to him. He told me the story. Everything is documented. And I took that, and when he was 13, he started using street drugs. Once that happened, I lost total control. I lost him at age 26. And that was the 26th summer of Marble, which I did this piece. And basically this piece was a flame, a knot going into a flame. And when I was doing this piece, I don't know if you're going to understand, but when you make a hole from one end of the piece to the other, you're supposed to do it very controlled with a spotter and a corbett. I was not doing any of that. I was in such a rage. I was so angry. I just took the diamond blade and attacked the stone. So my hole came out 8 inches lower than I anticipated. So instead of the knot being a closed knot, the knot became an open knot. So it became an open knot going into a flame. And this is in front of the Zucker Hillside Hospital.
This is where you had your son, right? Or where he was.
Well, when he was younger, he was a patient at the Schneider's 4th floor.
Wow.
And they helped him out a lot. They made him realize that all his trauma was anxiety-based. And all the voices that he was hearing in his head were from anxieties.
Oh my.
And they really helped him. So I felt this was a good place for this piece to be, in front of the Zucker Hillside Behavioral Clinic. In fact, I've got several letters from patients. They made it a practice to hug the sculpture or touch the sculpture when they leave, as to never return.
It's very touching, and thank you for sharing, Robin. It's very interesting and very touching, and as well as sad story, and but also touching.
But I healed myself. See, that's how I healed myself from this, loss.
Exactly.
A mother doesn't lose a child too easily.
I know, and that's something you can never.
And I gave this child so much energy in my life that I had to do this. This was my survival. I was doing this whether I had a placement for it or not. Like I was doing the sculpture before I knew where I was going to put it.
Yeah, that's the greatest story. Very sad and very touching, and I'm sure people appreciate it. And people who are there, and as they said, touch it, and they feel the energy, and they feel the actually healing energy on this piece. As it healed you, I'm sure this piece healed many other people as well.
Well, I have somebody from Thailand contacted me, and they want to do a Zoom class because their class wants to ask me questions about this piece in particular.
Yeah, that's very interesting piece, and I really like to see it one day. Right. Okay. So beside your sad story, and which is very interesting, and as I said, it's touching, and as well as
well, now we flip the coin.
Yeah, exactly.
We went from the expression, and there's all from expression. That every one of those pieces came from my brain, and then we flip the coin to what is America. America is comfort food. So this is a 200-pound hamburger.
Yes.
You want a bite?
Yeah, no, I love my teeth, but it's so, when I first was checking your website before we talked, I saw this, I said, is she a photographer? Because I couldn't believe this made out of stone. It's so real, especially that bread and those sesames on top of it are so real, which you want to really bite if you don't know this is made from stone. How long it takes you to create this piece?
Well, every one of the realism pieces are totally different because I collaborate different materials and different elements, and not all the time what you think is going to work is going to work. And sometimes you got to go back to the drawing board and figure out, what kind of stone should I use to make a pickle? Okay, I'm going to use alabaster and stain it. Okay, what am I going to use for the ketchup? Okay, I'm going to use resin and put some color in it. Well, I almost blew up my whole studio doing that one because I didn't like the color, and I poured the extra resin in a cup. And I learned very quickly that you can't have more than 1/4 of an inch of resin in a cup or it will self-explode.
I know, it's really
so
really
you learn all this stuff as you go, because every piece is a different material and a different experiment, which makes it exciting. After I did David's Knot in Flames, I made a statement to myself that I was no longer going to do sculptures that I don't 150% enjoy and have fun. So now I do harder projects that take much longer.
I have a video.
This is my hamburger, and I'm going to be putting more seeds on my hamburger. No, you can't eat this. Sorry, guys. This is a block of stone.
So what are those seeds? What type of a stone you use?
This is my hamburger.
Sorry. What type of a stone you use for those seeds?
I used little pebbles.
Okay. And you cut them, or they are like, you know?
No. I went on Amazon. I bought like 16 different things until I found one I liked.
All right. All right. So this is also a hot dog. So
This is my 3-foot hot dog.
very interesting. And are these, or you make different pieces and then you put them together?
Yes.
Okay. And what is the mustard? Is the mustard also stone?
No, the mustard and the ketchup is another material. It's a molding material, and the bun is limestone, and the hot dog is red travertine.
Okay.
and then the paper thing is made out of steel.
Oh.
I had somebody make it up.
All right. And this is another video, which you told me before, this is a piece you're working for long time.
This piece I started in 1992. I'm embarrassed to say it, but no. It's getting there. I got to be in the mood. It's very tedious. It's teeny, you know. You can't be in the rough cut mode. You have to be like, you know.
Exactly. Let's watch the video, and then if you'd like to explain it.
This piece is an oldie but a goodie. Started in 1992. It started out as a Torah design, strictly as brick walls representing the cartel and grapes. As the years went on, the concept developed in my head to have the vines of the grapes woven through the brick walls to represent growth. Now being 2021, hopefully post-COVID, we are going to represent strength and survival.
And why you decide to do this piece? Why? What was the story behind? Did you have a story about cartel or something you decide to do?
What I've done is I've designed several Jewish Sephardic Torah cases, and in the beginning I did them out of drawings. But when I do a drawing, the guy who's going to fabricate the silver nut doesn't always understand the drawing. So in the last 2 or 3 of them I actually made models. So that's what I was doing.
Okay, all right.
But I got carried away with it, obviously.
Okay, as you said, it's creating artwork. It's really depend on mood. So you have to come back to it, and you can put different story and finish it one of these days.
Exactly right. No, I'll finish it. This is my jacket. What is America? Jeans.
Yeah, you capture America and different culture in America very well. Jeans, but it's so real. You can touch it, and you want to actually try this jean. And of course, it won't be completed without M&M, right?
Well, after 9/11, I said to myself, what is America? What is America? Everyone's going to be doing North Towers and flags. What is America? America is comfort food. And that's when I started. I started doing realism. I said 93, but I think it was 98. And I did shoes and boots and a liquor bottle. I didn't start doing the food until after 9/11. What is America? America's comfort food. Milanos, Oreos,
and why
ketchup, mustard.
Why you call this divided America?
Well, I called this North Tower because I thought of it after 9/11, and that was my representation of what is America. America is fun.
And of course, you captured the message.
What is America?
Exactly.
America now is fighting between the left and right like cats and dogs.
Exactly.
You can't tell somebody like Trump, you can't tell somebody like Biden, they're going to cut your head off.
Exactly.
So what I did was, what do I see in front of me? What is the icon thing I see in front of me? It's a Trump hat.
Exactly.
So that's what I did. It's not saying whether I'm anti, pro, for. I don't discuss any of my political beliefs because it's pointless. Everybody fights like cats and dogs.
Exactly.
I'm just an observer, and this is what I observe.
You're recording the history, so that's what you're doing.
Exactly. I'm recording history in stone.
Exactly.
This is boxing gloves.
You cannot ignore, right? So you have to record the history. So history is not, anyone can ignore it.
Right. Well, that's what I do in the realism line. In the expression line, I record my personal history of my personal struggles through life. In the realism line, I express what I see outside around me.
Exactly, and you record it.
And this is boxing gloves. This is I'm working on. It's about 40 inches high at a Carrara marble, and it's a giant knot. And the hands are going to be carved out of marble. They were my hands. I made a mold of it. First, I wanted to get some guy, beefy hands and all this stuff. And I said, nope, it's my statement. It's my hands. So my hands are holding up this giant knot. And on the knot, it's going to say, we the people, the United States of America. Article 1, Article 2, Article 3, all the way to Article 7.
Okay.
And the hands holding it up is basically making a statement that everybody is fighting and everybody's in knots. And it's coming out of this pile of rocks, which are going to be CNC'd out of a solid block of granite.
All right. So is this something it's going to be handwriting here, or you want to carve the writing too?
It's going to be sandblasted on.
Okay. All right.
In
so
fact, next week, hopefully that will get done on the June 15th.
All right. So, okay, I think we're going to look forward to see, the finish of this one, and I'm sure it's going to be displayed somewhere. Robin, thank you very much for being with us today. Do you have any last word for our guest today?
Thank you for spending the time and listening to my statement and my work. If you ever have any questions, no obligations, feel free to reach out and contact me. I get emails all the time asking me questions, and I'm always happy to help. Thank you very much. We really enjoy talking to you and enjoy seeing your artwork. It was really a pleasure. Thank you very much, Robin. Thank you. Thank you.